Hi guys, I'm Doyle with Southern Paranormal. Tonight we are back at the Deason House in Ellisville, Mississippi. It's April 9, 2016. This is our second time here. The first time we had a lot of great things happen here. We had voices that were caught, the EVPs that were caught in the long room, children's laughter. We had personal experiences as well here. Tonight we're going back in. We brought a special guest with us, Tracy Ray, psychic and medium. She's going to give us a walkthrough and tell us what she feels. She's already picked up on a lot, and she's nailed a lot on the head, I'm going to tell you. We're here with Lacey, and your group is GCOMS, and it's another paranormal group out of Meridian, am I correct?
Yes, and I'm also a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and we own the home.
Oh, awesome. So you've got a lot of personal experience that you can share with us as well.
I do.
All right. Well, y'all come along. We're fixing to go in, and we'll start, I guess, what room is best to start in?
Probably start in the parlor.
Parlor?
That's usually
all right.
where we start out.
We'll follow you on it.
Okay.
Now this room, this is where we actually captured a children's laughter coming from. What can you tell us about this room?
Well, this room is one of the original rooms. The house has 4 original rooms, and this is one of them. One experience that I've had, my husband was a skeptic when we first met. Mm-hmm. And he stayed the night in this house and got touched in this room and became a believer. He was sitting in that chair right there, and something touched his head 3 times. And after that, he was hooked. There are lots of reports of children's voices. Children's voices have been caught on EVP in here.
Is this the only room that has captured children's voices or laughter or anything, or is it throughout the house?
Sometimes it's throughout the house, but the children normally stay in this room. I'm not exactly sure why. But I've heard whispers in here. I've heard voices. But the big thing is that chair will rock on its own. I was here one night, the first night I stayed in this house. We had monitors set up in the other room, and we watched the rocking chair rocking by itself. Awesome. We have a Halloween open house and reenactment here every October. Mm-hmm. And one of the ladies that was working, one of the DAR ladies that was working, was in here by herself, and the chair began to rock, and she watched it rock. She was sitting on this little fainting couch. It rocked, and then it just stopped. And there had been no one in here at the time. So that's another claim. The same night that my husband got touched, her daughter got pinched in that chair. So there's something about that chair that's their chair.
Yeah, I think it's just the location.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think earlier when I came in here, the furniture's different, and it's the way that it's set up. I want to say there's 2 chairs there, 2 chairs here. The way that I'm seeing it back then. So yeah, a little bit different.
What do you feel in this room? Do you feel it's children? Or
I do feel that there is children in here. Yes, and a lot of energy's coming through the passageway also. You know, when we walked through, I walked around the...
it's like maybe like a playroom farm or something, or?
Yes, I do believe that, because this was really a small house. So when there were people in here, the women stayed in the back is what I want to say. Men outside, children stayed in here.
It's quite
really
possible.
Yeah, because when I remote viewed, I saw the house is very small, nothing like what it is now. So.
Now, also, when we were talking earlier, on the way here actually, she was telling me she feels there's 2 Amoses.
Yes, yeah.
And I had no idea what it was or anything. And what'd you find out?
Right, well, I couldn't, whenever we first came here, I kept getting like animosity, anger, deception, and something was going on with 2 Amoses. And one Amos passed away on a different date than the other Amos, and I was so confused, like, what Amos is this, you know? So that's when I asked you, and you were like, I don't know. I'm like, well, great. So I started telling her about it, and she didn't want to say nothing. She goes, well, I don't know what I need. I don't know what I say. Just validate if there was 2. She's like, yes. I said, oh, God, thank you, because now I'm not crazy, you know? So there was two Amoses. It was the Amos that actually owned the house, and it was the Amos that actually got murdered in the house. So that explains a lot, on, the one that actually got killed, and then the animosity that was coming from the other two men that I felt that were here on that date. Because I was picking up four, because I picked up four 3 times. And were the 4 rooms, and then the 4 men, and then apparently the 4 orbs.
4 orbs, yeah. That's something that we're going to hear about in the next room here, one of your personal experiences.
Now, I will tell you something that's a little bit interesting about this particular room as far as the historical aspect goes. A group from the University of Southern Mississippi came. They're in the dendrochronology department, and they do what they study tree rings and climate and things like that. And they do what they call a coring, where they take wood samples and they can date how old the wood was down to the season when it was cut and the year that it was cut. And some of the wood that is in the attic over this room and under the house was actually cut in the 1700s.
Wow. And
this house was built in 1845, around about
That's the date I got when
1845.
I talked to you the first night. It was 1845.
Exactly.
That's when we think the house was built in that time period. What the professor at USM is assuming is there was possibly fur traders in the area in the 1700s that had built some type of structure, because this was all piney woods when the Deasons moved here, and they think possibly they built some type of structure during the fur trading days, and that original structure was here, and the Deasons tore it down and used some of the wood, repurposed it for their house.
There's also something else in here too that Tracy picked up on. She was talking about a crawlway or crawl space or whatever.
Crawl space, yeah.
Isn't there something
It's right there.
over here?
Yeah, because when we were walking outside before we got inside, I kept getting that there was one, and then when we passed the one outside, I really didn't feel that was the one it was, but it triggered something. And
It was much larger when the Deasons lived here. It has been made
Closed in.
smaller.
What was the purpose of
Closed in.
this?
It was actually, this fireplace went all the way through to the other bedroom, the bedroom behind here, and there was like an access to the attic some way, but the family history says that Miss Deason used that to hide Confederate soldiers in.
Confederate soldiers that were trying to turn good, never mind, got it all confused. That's Union.
Well, I mean, Confederate soldiers that were turncoats from or were against the. I'm right with you
No,
on this.
I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure.
It's
That's
some
just
type
what
of
the
deception.
oral history
Okay.
says. I do know that about 5 or 6 miles south of here, well, I guess southeast of here, there was a battle, a skirmish actually, and there is a historical marker there that took place between the Confederates and the Union, and some of the wounded soldiers, both Confederate and Union, were brought here
Okay.
after the skirmish happened. And
Okay.
we'll talk more about that in another room.
The one you're talking about, is the murder room, as they call it. Is that
Yes.
it?
Yes.
We can go in there right now. We can. And I think. Do I want to get in here? Let's come over here if you will.
Okay. I can do that.
I'm not standing in the spot.
Where'd Donald go?
You know he likes to wander off.
But this room that we're standing in now, I think, is nicknamed the murder room, correct?
Yes.
And you've had some experiences in here, and your group has had some experiences in here as well, right?
Yes. Definitely in this room. This is one of the hot spots in the room. This was the actual room where Major Amos McLemore was shot. And he was shot, legend has it, that he was standing in front of the fireplace, and Knight threw open the door, because out there was a back porch. It was not a room, it was a wraparound porch. He threw open the door and shot him in the back and escaped into the night. And Major McLemore fell to the ground, fell to the floor, and bled out on the floor. and the family story says that they couldn't get rid of the blood stain.
That's what I was going to ask. I heard something about that.
Actually put down a new floor. I will tell you that the blood stain is still under the house. When that group from USM came, they crawled all over here, and they said it is still on the floor joist under the house. Yeah.
Well,
it is
okay.
there.
It's run down or something, if I've heard correctly.
Yeah.
It's a soap floor.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and y'all probably had a lot of paranormal groups over the years come through here. Has this been one of the major hotspots in here?
Yes. In the month of October, we do an open public ghost hunts. Pay $20 and be a ghost hunter for a night. And I have actually been in this room on one of those public hunts where that bed shook. Shook so hard that the flashlight came on that was laying on it.
And wasn't there something about some marks that's left in the floor?
That was the first night that GCOM came here. I was sitting on the bed, and Justin was sitting. Justin is he's our leader, I guess you'd say. He was sitting in a chair in front of this door, and something pulled him out of the chair.
I saw the video. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I do have video evidence of that.
And hopefully we get it to put it on our video.
Yes, I will be glad to get that to you. And after we scared me to death, and I screamed like a little girl and ran out the door. And when we went out and rewound the video and watched it, there were 4 orbs that flew down into my head, sitting on that bed.
And again, the number 4, huh?
Mm-hmm, right.
The number 4. Yeah, the number 4.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that.
That's what I said earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, man, where's the other 4 coming in? Then when you said that story, I'm like, oh wow, maybe that's what it was.
And we've gotten lots of EVPs in this room. There was one night that myself and one of the ladies was here with the newspaper staff from the junior college, Jones Junior College, which is right down the road. And it was it was October, and we were promoting our open house, and they were doing an article on the house for us. And we just brought them in, and I brought in a digital recorder, and we were playing with the spirit box. And very plainly, and I wish I had brought that. That would have been awesome. Very plainly, I'll try to. Okay. Because unfortunately, it's a cheap one, and it doesn't have a pluggy anythingy. Anyway, we were all in this room, and there were no other people in the house. Everyone that was here was in this room. And in the audio, you can hear the spirit box. And all of a sudden, you hear an EVP that is not from the spirit box, that is a hysterical woman shrieking, "Buddy, there's somebody in the attic." Wow. We did not hear this at the time. After we got done in here, we went out into the sunroom. I have a video of that I can send you.
Awesome.
I have a video of that. We went out into the sunroom, and the video is of us listening to the recording, and you don't hear us. I mean, all of us were listening to the recording, and we all heard it, and the looks on our faces, because we did not hear it with our ears, but very distinctly, this hysterical woman, "Buddy, there's somebody in the attic."
Wow.
And we don't have any idea who that is or why they were in the attic.
Awesome. What are you picking up in here?
Well, I just wrote down, y'all were saying that you were getting a lot of children in that room there, which I was too. But when I walk in here, I felt like that's what their bedroom was. Back in the day. Yeah, the kids' bedroom.
Actually, this was the Deason's bedroom.
This was, okay.
Yeah. And the reason Major McLemore was here is because he was friends of the Deasons, and when the Deasons would have company, they would let their company use their bedroom, and they would sleep upstairs in the attic.
Okay. The Deasons would?
The Deasons would.
Okay.
Now, the home has only had 4 owners. The Deasons, one of their granddaughters married an Anderson, and they had children, and they had it.
Okay.
And then it stayed in the Deason family, and then the Smiths, who were part of the Andersons, stayed in the Anderson-Deason family. They owned it, and then in 1990 they deeded it to the DAR.
Okay.
It could have been one of the Andersons that used this as a bedroom.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
That would make sense.
Because they had 10 kids. So they had to have somewhere to put 10 children.
Okay.
So,
Man, good Lord.
and that's when they added on the back of the house.
Yeah, that's
Was when they lived here.
And there's another room that y'all refer to as the long room.
The long room. Yeah. Well,
That's where I had my experience at. We'll go there and we talk a little
I've
bit
had
there.
experiences in there too.
All right, we're in what's referred to as the long room. I think this used to be a surgical room at one time.
Actually, it was a bedroom. From these posts on the walls forward is original to the house. The rest of it was back porch. When the members of the DAR were restoring the house to begin with, when they took down the wallpaper, they found blood splatters on the wall.
Right.
And through some investigation,
It's the first time I've been in this room.
I really
Yeah, I'm getting nauseated. Yeah, I hadn't even, I don't know why, but I have totally walked past that door the whole night.
I will tell you, this is my least favorite room in the house. It is my least favorite room. I'm not exactly sure why.
That explains all the amputation that I was seeing too.
Yeah,
Okay.
because as I was saying in the parlor, when they brought the wounded soldiers here, they put them in this room.
Okay.
And the local doctor was here to see about them.
And usually any kind of shot, wound, meant amputation.
Yeah.
At that
Yeah.
time.
Did they ever find bones in the back? In the yard?
Not that I'm aware
Okay.
of.
I'll have to walk that.
Yeah. Feel something back
Yeah,
there?
well, I did earlier too, and that's where the amputation came in. But I totally just ignored this room, and now I know why I ignored this room. That's why.
One of the experiences that I've had in this room, we were here with a paranormal group, a different group, because there always has to be a DAR member on site when someone's here. My husband got touched again in this room.
They
And
like him.
They do, they like to touch him. And he had his hands like this, and he took his hands apart, and you could feel a cold breeze
Oh,
going
wow.
between his
It's
hands.
22 degrees difference.
Really?
Yeah.
One
22
side of my
degrees.
hand in between my hands.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I thought it was a sensation of having your hands together and you separate them, you know, the sensation of sweat, but it wasn't. With a temperature gauge, it was 22 degrees difference from the
That's a
outside of my hands.
huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could feel the air moving between his hands,
And I was sitting right here.
and
And there's no air on in the house at the time.
no.
We turned it off for investigating.
And that night, there was an overpowering smell of unwashed bodies
Really?
and sweat in this room.
Musk.
Musk, like dirty bodies, maybe
Wet
horse
socks.
flesh, you know,
Yeah.
just a musky smell. Everybody in the room smelled it that night.
Wow.
But this is one of the main ones where I had my experience in. We had a REM pod go off in here and had another friend that was, it was just me and him in here and he was running the cameras. He came, well, we had a REM pod set up in here and the REM pod went off just big time. I walked in here, when I walked in here, it was just like a static charge that just went over me. And I felt that before, but he had never felt that, so I called him in, and when he walked in, he didn't feel it standing by the door, and I told him he was walking over by the table. When he came by the table, you know, his eyes went big around as silver dollars, and, you know, I asked him if he felt it, he said, uh-huh. So, I mean, that was the skeptic there, and I think that starts to change him a little bit there. But that was just a personal experience. There's no way to validate it other than what I had on video, just showing the hair standing up, you know,
Right.
but, you know.
One investigation that GCOM did here, we had a motion detector set up where that table is, on the corner of that table. There was no one in the room. We were standing at the doorway and the motion detector is going off as we're all standing there looking at it. We
Oh.
go outside to the trailer and we have live audio going. The motion detector is still going off in this room.
Awesome.
Yeah. There's been, this is the parlor, some nights, I guess when the kids feel like playing, it's a good one. The murder room is always a hot spot. This is always a hot spot. And what we call Ma's room is always a hot spot.
Yes, I forgot about that. Have y'all had any experiences in there, or you
Oh,
know
yes.
others that have?
Yes.
We'll
Yes.
go in there, because I think y'all got some memorabilia, some dresses, and that were
Mhm.
actually belong to.
The Deasons.
Right. Okay. Well, let's go in there. I like to see that. So this is called
We call this Ma's room.
Ma's room.
It's also called the summer boarding room because when the Andersons moved in here, they added on the back half of the house, and this is the addition. And if you look, you can tell that the windows used to be higher,
You're right.
and so the heat would rise in the summer, and it was cooler in here for giving birth in the summer. This was also the Andersons' bedroom. And that picture right there is the second owner of the house, Isaac Anderson Jr. And he and his wife raised 10 children here. These clothes that are on the bed actually belong to Amos and Eleanor Deason, who are the original owners of the home.
Now, is this bloodstains on it?
We're not exactly sure. Some family member had them, like in a trunk or something, so it could be water damage.
Right.
We don't have a
I
whole
don't
lot
feel
of
it's
information. At least I don't have a whole lot of information about them.
Does it feel like it's
I don't feel like it's blood, no.
Right. It
To
sure
me, it looks
don't.
like water damage.
But it's wild that, you know, I mean, this was from the era, you know, that it's something, personal effects that they wore at the time, you know.
Now, see, I didn't know while we were in her earlier, and I kept getting that 4 children were lost or, you know, had passed, that this was the birthing room. I had no idea. So now that, you know, me feeling all of that makes a lot of sense now. And Tammy, I think, validated that she had lost children. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well,
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. It was probably, if someone lost children in this room, it was probably Miss Anderson.
Listen, okay.
Because when the Deasons moved here, they were older and their
Mhm.
children, their daughters were teenagers
Right.
then.
Yeah,
So-
but I don't know. I'm still feeling, and maybe it didn't happen here, but I'm feeling that energy holding that dress that she did lose. So, I don't know. So, I don't know.
maybe that'll come out as an investigation.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Well, I think Tammy did the
unfolds.
genealogy on Miss Deason, and I think she did find that she had lost children.
Which Tammy done stepped out, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, I think so.
One of the experiences, we get a lot of flashlight play in this room. Ladies have reported their hair being pulled, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There was one night we were here with a group and you could hear boot steps in the attic.
Well, tonight we've got, I guess, I'm not sure how many cameras we've got out. William, you know, 8.
12.
No, we ain't got 12 out, do we?
No.
I was just coming when she said that.
I think we have 8 cameras, and we're trying to set up the Connect box in there to put the 9th camera on. We've got remote audio. We've got one up in the attic, so you know maybe we can catch a little bit there. We've got one in the long room. We've got one in the parlor up front as well, and we can monitor that from outside. We're probably fixing to go out and go live, or we're already live, I guess. We're fixing to go out and cut lights out and come back in and do an investigation. And we're going to be live on Periscope as well. Y'all like and share us on it, if you will. You know, let others know about us, you know, so they may find it interesting. We're not sure what Tracy may pick up tonight, you know.
Who knows?
Where we've got 2 Periscopes that we're running. One is SPI_MS and the other is SPI_MS_2. You can also go to our website, which is southernparanormalms.com. We've got links to our Facebook page, to our Twitter page, and follow us on it and be notified when we go live. We've got many more next month, especially. We're going to be in the haunted city of Savannah, Georgia on Friday the 13th at Moon River Brewery, my second trip there. We're hoping to have some of the same things happen before. I think you've been to Savannah a few times, haven't
Yeah,
you?
yeah. I've been to Moon River. I think that's where I met you.
Right.
That's the
And
first
it's
time.
a pretty wild place. And then the 14th, we're going to be at the Surreal Weed House, which ought to be a great investigation. There's been a lot of evidence picked up there. But all right, guys, let's do what we do best.
Let's do it.